A small delegation of Maori from Taranaki, New Zealand, are touring the Yukon, sharing a bit of their culture and their knowledge and how they were successful in making sacred places like rivers and mountains as legal persons. Jamie Tuta says New Zealand is going through their own reconciliation process.
We've been able to do through the processes to basically convince the New Zealand government on the back of previous examples that we can actually, at law, recognise our mountain as his own legal person at law.
The Maori used legislation in 2017 to designate Mount Taranaki as a person. 8 local Maori tribes and the New Zealand government now share guardianship of the sacred mountain. With Mount Taranaki now declared as a person, it means if someone abuses or harms it, it is legally the same as harming the tribe.
We now have examples of legal personhood, legal personality being conferred on rivers, landscapes and mountains. And so what we like about that is the fact that we've always viewed these places as ancestors and having a deep connection to them. And for the first time, that worldview, that Maori worldview and our perspective about place and these landscapes and rivers is being acknowledged in the legal system.
The Karkras First Nation hosted the Maori delegation. Former Chief Mark Wedge traveled to New Zealand earlier this year to learn more about the legislation.
Because where we're at with our Indigenous land use planning is very similar kind of processes. How do we incorporate our traditional values and traditional knowledge and those virtues and values into legislation? And we have to do it obviously within the legislative framework of Canada. So we're beginning to research that. Right? We know that from a traditional point of view is that we know that these mountains have names, a spirit, and all those things. But to give them that legal personhood is something that we're very much looking at.
Wedge says it will be up to the elders of Karkras to deem what landscapes and waterways in their territory they would like to be named as a person.
How I see it is it's all part of that progression around how we advance our interests as a people, how we reclaim our place, how we build our identity and confidence to be able to be Maori. We say kia Maori, to be Maori and to be able to celebrate who we are and what we believe.
To Maori, Mount Taranaki is a revered volcanic peak. It was already deemed a national park, but the Maori voice and way of life was absent. Shirley McLean, APTN National News, Carcross, Yukon.